Would I be an idiot for reporting a coworker for force-feeding me? I, male 24, am a small man, 5'4" and 103 pounds as of my last physical. I am well aware I'm at an unhealthy weight. My entire life I've been small mostly due to illnesses and myriad allergies, and it's admittedly a sore spot. I am working with my doctor to gain weight while still fitting in with my dietary restrictions. No meat, dairy, gluten, or nuts. And honestly, I'm so much better than I was several months ago and proud of myself for the progress I've made. A coworker, Peg, female 30, got pregnant and recently returned to work late November. She's been increasingly overt and uncomfortable in her concern for me. Peg made and brought in cupcakes for her return, and when I thanked her for thinking of us but refused, citing my gluten allergy, she was visibly upset. She didn't shout or complain much, just sighed heavily and said that she would put this one in the break room with the rest. I felt awful. Then, she brought me a steak sandwich the next day, on gluten-free bread. Again I thanked her, but I had brought in my own lunch and needed to focus on that. Peg told me it was in the fridge for when I finished. Ended up bringing it home so she wouldn't feel bad and gave it to my BF. Next day, she approached again. I refused again. She insisted. By now we weren't alone in the break room. She joked that it was rude to refuse a home-cooked meal in favor of that, my lunch. At that point I just took it and thanked her. BF ended up eating it. Then she just started leaving bagged snacks on my desk. She would approach with a snack or a portion of whatever she made for dinner the night before, and not leave me be until I had taken it. I went to our boss and explained that I felt uncomfortable and was told that she was probably feeling maternal and it would negatively impact morale to discourage her. So, I've been taking notes since then, what days Peg has given what, when, who witnessed it, etc. From 12/8 to now she's done it 23 times. Yesterday I took Peg aside and explained that while I was touched, I would appreciate it if she wouldn't bring in anything else. She said that I should have said something sooner, she was only trying to help. Have I seen myself in a mirror? Does your boyfriend like you starving yourself? Among other phrases. Livid. I told her that maybe I didn't feel like sharing my personal medical history with her just so that my wishes were respected. For God's sake, we work with a hospital. Don't you know anything about HIPAA? We parted from there, me childishly storming off and her in tears. Have I already been a huge ass and would a report to HR just be the icing on the cake? Edit. To address a few commonly raised points. I said no thank you, repeatedly, to her face when she gave the food. She in turn would refuse to leave my desk or to stop talking to me, in the break room or halls, until I took it. She returned to work late November, before Thanksgiving, and started this behavior almost immediately. I waited until 12/8 to speak with our boss, who is a woman, if that matters, and only then started counting the incidents. She is also no longer pregnant, rather I should have said that she returned from maternity leave. I went to HR, saying that the matter was settled, but I wanted it documented. Subsequently was told that there would be an investigation and the incidents would be corroborated with witnesses, because as is the full record I claim is severe enough to warrant potential action for Peg and several other coworkers who also engaged in her behavior. HR started the process, apparently immediately, because I walked in yesterday to a shitstorm. This plunged the department into civil war. Many agree Peg was out of line. Some told me I should have kept the status quo, some said I was ungrateful and entitled. One said I should have handled this maturely and who could blame her when I look like that, and I should be ashamed of myself. Another coworker suggested I work from home. Another told me he was sorry for not stepping in. I went to get my lunch out of the fridge only to find someone had disposed of it and left behind the empty Tupperware. Nearly everyone has an opinion. The people in my corner have advised me to keep my head down and to take care. My boss held a meeting, first with Peg and me, then a second with just me. During the one with Peg, I was told to apologize for my part and Peg likewise. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable by caring about your health. My boss asked if I was satisfied now. I brought up Peg's comments and my boss said I invited them. No one would call that harassment, and I need to work on myself. Together we went through each of the 23 events. She excused each of them until I was left to feel like I'd been harassing Peg. The next meeting was even worse. Effectively, the boss said, I told you not to retaliate and instead you searched Peg out to harass her, and your actions have expressed a worrying lack of cooperation with me and your team. She was also disappointed that instead of explaining that I needed her to resolve things, I escalated the situation well beyond the point of reason and was cruel to someone who only wanted to help. She said I won't get far in life and I'm not likely to get anywhere vocationally if I can't be a team player and actively sabotage a happy workplace. She hoped I will learn from this teachable moment how to behave in a collaborative environment, as it's inappropriate to involve HR for small misunderstandings. The F is spitting mad. I'm just tired, confused and hurt. HR seemed sympathetic. Boss is very clearly on Peg's side. The office is split in tents. Currently updating my resume and job searching. It really does feel like a nightmare. Haven't felt good going into work for a while, and this just made it times worse. Not an idiot. Your boss is retaliating, which is illegal, and is actively creating a hostile workplace. Please report her to HR ASAP. I would bet money the meetings she called with you weren't sanctioned by HR. Your boss's job is to keep a smoothly run department, and instead she's taking sides and making your work life hell. You're an idiot. She is only looking out for you with good intentions and you are spitting in her face. Plus she just had a baby, so on top of caring for a newborn, she is trying to feed you. She basically has 2 babies because that's what you are being. A big baby. Grow up. Not an idiot. I am a manager at a company and I have received extensive training on what harassment is and how to handle it, and your boss has literally done everything you are not supposed to do. Report your boss in the way, then handle this to your HR department because now your boss is creating a hostile work environment. I would also be updating my resume because who would want to work in such a backwards company with such horrible company culture? Do you think Peggy crossed the line? Let me know in the comments. Now, would I be an idiot for sending my neighbor a cease and desist letter? Last fall we moved into a new house and less than 2 weeks later, had a baby. We were pretty focused on the whole parenting thing and failed to notice how often the neighbor on one side was using our property for several things without any kind of permission or discussion. It started with his kids spending their days in our driveway drawing with sidewalk chalk. We had to ask them to stop because we seriously feared running them over when backing out of the garage, as they have absolutely no supervision or regard for cars. They stopped drawing and started using our garage door as a bumper stop while riding their scooters and bikes. They physically bashed into the garage door and dented it. I asked them to stop. After a dozen or so instances, they finally stopped. In the spring, we noticed that the dad was parking his trailer on our side of the property between our 2 driveways. The property line is very clear with fences and different types of landscaping. In addition, he was pulling his garbage cans through our gravel and making huge tracks. As we're in the middle of a pandemic and we have a baby, we decided to write a note and leave it with our information while also lining the property line with large rocks. Never heard from them, but they had moved the rocks into a pile in the front of our side of the property. We moved the rocks back again and thought we had made our position very clear. At the beginning of June, the husband came and rang our door. He proceeded to tell us that because he's parked his trailer like that since he moved in and no one has cared before, so we can't care either. At no point did he ask if he could park on our side or use our property. He said it's never been a problem and I should be able to do it. We politely said we did not give him permission to do so and explained that we intended to landscape the area, and his trailer and use of our property would ruin the landscaping we had planned. The entire conversation was difficult because he spoke over me the entire time and talked to me like a child. At the end of the confrontation, he said we were rude neighbors and stormed off. Since then, he parks further over, moves our landscaping rocks constantly, and aggressively moves his garbage cans through the gravel, leaving marks like he was zigzagging back and forth. This weekend I started taking photos as proof of his parking and the way he's ruining our gravel with his garbage cans. He came out and glared at me. I, very nicely, again, asked him to stop. He replied, why? And when I said because it's my property and we've asked him not to, he replied whatever, and walked away. Now we come to today. I'm done. I am so frustrated that this guy feels like he is entitled to unquestioned use of property that is not his. Update. It's a very happy update. I drafted the letter with some legal assistance. Prior to sending it, I wanted to ensure I had proper cameras in the event he decided to make things worse. When I installed the camera, the neighbor must have realized why it was installed because they stopped doing all the annoying stuff. Then, about a month later, they listed their house for sale. They've moved out and we don't have to deal with their entitled idiot attitude anymore. I appreciate all the assistance and support as I was really unsure if I was going in the right direction. Edit. I want to clarify. I do not believe that the neighbor moved because of anything I did or asked him to stop doing. I think he had been planning to move for some time and was just an absolute prick of a person. They didn't move because of me, and even if they did, they sold the house for $200,000 more than they bought it 3 years ago. So he is not some victim. I do appreciate all the kind words. I am also bummed that so many people have shitty neighbors as well. Not an idiot. Isn't that an amazing feeling? We had a horrible neighbor when we moved into a place years ago. He threatened to shoot our dog, not because it was barking, but because we were playing darts with friends with our garage open and we were playing music. Not even loudly. At 7 p.m., he called the cops on us. They shrugged and said we weren't doing anything wrong. So then this guy threatens to shoot the dog. When he sold his place a couple of months later, I was so relieved. Now, you won't want to miss this next story. Am I an idiot for not wanting to give any money to my pregnant ex? My ex, female 25, and I, male 27, were together for about 6 months, but during that time we were free to see other people. Things weren't working out, so we broke up. Over a month after that, she finds out she's pregnant and tells me the baby is mine. But I already knew she was seeing other guys, so it was also possible the baby isn't. She got mad that I was having doubts, but I said if we got a paternity test and it showed I'm the dad, then yeah, I'll 100% be involved. My ex didn't want that and she'd rather wait until after the baby is born to get a test done, so I said that's fine, it's her choice. But I won't get myself involved unless I know the baby is mine. Like I already know I could be set up for child support if I start helping out now and then later it's revealed I'm not the father. I live in the US and have heard this stuff happens a lot. I'd rather not even risk it, you know. She's about 8 months old now and I have started saving up money, reading up some books, making shopping cart lists of baby clothes and furniture to buy in case I am the father, so it's not like I'm not preparing for this at all. So right now money is tight with her since I know she's only working part-time. She doesn't have the money for a baby bassinet or clothes because she practically lives paycheck to paycheck. She started asking to let her borrow money for baby stuff, but I've told her no. As far as I know, she doesn't have any other family she's close to and friends are the same as her with money. But I already said I'll start giving her money and helping out once I know her son is mine. Otherwise I'd rather not get involved. I've even told her to reach out to the other guys who could also be the dads, but she said one is even more broke and the other she hasn't been able to contact. So for right now it seems like I'm the only one actually able to offer financial support. We have a couple mutual friends and I'm getting poop from them because they know I have the money to help out. She could be the mom of my kids, so the least I could do is provide. They say they would if they had the money. Since I do have the means and this baby could be mine, I should already be helping. They have a point. The baby could be mine and I'll be happy to help out ... once I know he is in fact mine. But everyone else is seeing it as I'm being too cold and inconsiderate. I don't think I am, but want to know what others believe. Am I an idiot? Hasn't been that long, but thought I should update since many of you wanted to know. Following what a few here suggested, I tried talking to my ex again about getting the prenatal paternity test done right now since she kept pressing me about giving her money. I said if her situation is that bad then let's have this test done already, so if the baby is mine I can start helping now. Because if we waited until after birth she was going to have to wait for my support until the results came in. Plus if she still refused the paternity test then it would be more waiting around to get a court-ordered test. Meaning no help from me at all for a while even after the baby is already here. So yes, she agreed to it in the end. He's not mine. I just got the results the day before yesterday. My ex didn't really have much to say. She only texted fine then I won't bother you anymore. I told her I was sorry and wished her luck. Also told her about what you guys commented about Facebook posts selling or giving away used baby stuff, plus the WIC program that could help her out since she's low income. But she didn't respond after that and haven't heard from her since, so I don't know if she'll look into those. Not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed. I know I was having my doubts about this baby being mine and was keeping my distance. But like I said, I was mentally and physically preparing in case he was so that I could be there as a father. Still feel that loss, but at least now I know for sure. I appreciate everyone who commented and thanks for the info and advice. Not an idiot. My cousin just found out the baby he thought was his daughter isn't his. She lied and the baby is over a year old now. They weren't together and the baby went back and forth between them each week until he received the paternity results. He gave her $2,000 a month. Everyone in our whole family is heartbroken because now she is keeping her from him since he discovered the truth. He's a mess. A lot less painful. Really smart of you to do this. It's crazy people do this. Not an idiot. I'm so glad you found out. I suspected she was dragging her feet because she also suspected. Keep the results handy, you never know. I understand your ambivalence because you were gearing up for it. She was counting on that and hoping it wouldn't matter by the time the baby was born and you were attached. That's what makes everything about her wrong for you.